Yo, it's Rule Zero.
Morning.
We're live. We're going. I forgot the intro thing, but I don't care. I've been away from the internets for like 2 weeks, so I kind of forgot how some things worked, and I like it.
How is that? That's got to be nice.
It was really nice. It wasn't even like a conscious decision at the beginning. It was just, I was using my phone for my playlist for the drive and maps. And I was kind of just it. And I didn't kind of really think about my phone as anything other than a GPS device while I was driving. I didn't have any interest in getting on my social medias. I already decided I wasn't going to make any posts. A lot of my posts are edited videos for my podcast. So I left on a Friday, so I didn't have my podcast on the Sunday. So I didn't have videos to post. So I didn't even really worry about it. And then because I wasn't doing that, I wasn't doing any other work. So I didn't even use the internet at all. Like I got back, I DM'd you guys. Like I got back. I didn't even like, wait, Kamala Harris is running for president. Like, what the hell happened? What's going on?
Well, I mean, do you feel better mentally? I got to imagine it was a nice breath of fresh air.
Yes, it was, because everything's a lot less gay in real life.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to see, it was also, I think, had a lot to do with getting out of California. I got to go, we drove. So it's, Nevada and Utah and what is it, Nebraska or Wyoming, and then Nebraska and then Iowa. And these are all like states that
where did you go? Oh, did you go back to Indiana?
Indiana.
Oh, okay. All right. That's some pretty driving you had there then.
Yeah, 2,400 miles one way. Yeah, I did about my rental thing said it was I did over 5,000 miles on the rental.
But it was, I have to agree with you, because if I watch the news or the internet or anything, and I'm not saying this shit ain't happening in the real world, but then I go out to South Dakota and someone's got their mic coming in way fucking hot. Was that you, Paul, that just paused it?
Right. I think it was Paul.
Go out into the hills. The hills are still there. The sun still rises. I play poker with my buddies. It's just, and best thing to do. Do you have crypto? You got silver? You got your shit together? Cool. Fuck what society does. Who gives a shit? It's a way better mental health.
Tend your garden. They can't take that from you.
Yep.
But yeah, so that's kind of just the premise of the whole show today was just, the internet's not real. Get out and do things. Do real things. Stop masturbating to political icons and ideologies. It's not doing anything for you. Rooting for Trump or Harris now, what does it do for your life? What does it really do for your life? You feel good for a few seconds because you yelled for your guy. Go to a sports ball game. At least maybe you'll be around some people. It's just, these things don't really matter, and people wind themselves up so much about it. They consume every podcast. They look at every report. They're looking at that, all these people talking, all these talking heads. They're getting all worked up, and then they're mad, and then nothing happens. They don't do anything. They don't go anywhere. Like, what are you doing to make your life better? Like,
how much
where are your
personal
connections to people?
Do we know how much the average person spends on social media a day? I mean, I could look it up, but I guarantee you it's a tremendous amount of time that you could be spending it better.
Yes. Like I'd say, hours. They're spending probably 4 to 8 hours a day on social media. I bet it's in that range.
How are my levels now? Are they better?
They're still a little hot. I just looked it up here, Fitch, while our IT expert, Paul, gets his IT stuff dialed in. It's 2.5 hours a day. That's a part-time job.
I've met people and I've talked with people and on my trip and people from back home, and there's still plenty of people who like don't even have social media. And I think that's one of the reasons why that number is that low. Is because there's people who they're never. Maybe they Facebook a little bit and put some posts here and there, but they're just not they're not active. They don't have Instagram. They don't have a lot of the new apps and new social media platforms, and they're happy people. They seem like they're doing things. My buddy Mo, he bought a house. It was a duplex, brick stone, like 20 some years ago, under the crazy Fannie Mae loans. You know, he's been working and keeping that, and it's had a building attached. So he turned into his gym, and then the house next door was like beat up and rented out by some scummy people, and he helped to throw those people out, and the guy sold him the owner of the house was happy and sold him the house because he helped him kick the people out. So now he bought that house and he remodeled it, turned it into a duplex. It's beautiful. Like, he spends his days coaching and training people, and then working on these houses and rebuilding them and fixing them. And like, he's living a pretty good life. He's not stressed out about, oh my God, did you hear what happened to Trump, or what happened to Kamala Harris, or Joe Biden shit his pants? Doesn't even know.
Well, and what I've found with because I built a house, not with my bare hands, though a lot of it, I did a significant amount of it. They really can't take that away from you. Like, no matter what happens, unless the communists were actually come in and say, we now own your property, I can go ahead and work, get paid, have 40% of it taken out of my check, or I could just do the manual labor and put my own shelving into the house. I can put the own retaining walls up. I can create my own wall. Hell, Thor alone has created his own well and his own solar power, which you're kind of bartering with yourself. You're avoiding the taxation. You're avoiding the partial enslavement. And he just, and I know it was hard work for Thor, but I guarantee, Thor, were you happy when you finished off your solar power and your well and all that? Like, I mean, you must have a sense of
I
accomplishment.
engineered it all myself, 2008 and 9, before there was such a thing as power walls, just because of my background and the fact that I was sitting on water rights. It just, you'd have to do it. And it's, the cost avoidance in the future is incredible. And now they're buying the electricity back from you when you overgenerate. So that's a very good investment. If you're going to be around for many years, you know, if not, I kind of did the math. You got to, if you're going to own it, you got to own it for 7 to 8 years. Otherwise, you're just paying interest the whole time. You're just shifting one cost out on your electricity. Although there is one thing bad about California here, I will mention. You mentioned the communists not being here, just seizing your property. They are. The Marxists are. And here's how they do it. And I'll make the audience aware. And I don't know if you're aware of this, Aaron. What they do here in California, and I'm in the construction industry that does work with residences and commercial entities. What they do is they have these cities pass ordinances that require, whenever you sell a home or whenever you build a home, they must belong to an approved homeowners or commercial owners association. Are you following me so far? In that association, they have rights to force you to do things with your property under penalty of fees. And they can even lien your property. But it's a private entity that's been approved by the town council, the city, in order to make sure everything is uniform and matches their ideology there in the city. This is very insidious. I watched this happen with residences where they actually went in the parkways and eventually banned all fruit trees. You have to have fruitless fruit trees in your walkways, in your front yard, because they don't like the mess. And they will fine you if you have it. And they have their own code enforcement that are private code enforcement for
it. No, there's that's like saying, okay, we're having rental caps, or we're going to tell you who can apply for your property, or even the Federal Reserve. Oh, no, the Federal Reserve's not the government. No, fuck you. It is the government. I don't care. I don't care how you hide it, having a facade of an entity. If it's taking dictates and directives from the government and enforcing it, it is the government. I don't care how they masquerade that.
A weapon of the government.
You guys hear an echo on my side?
A little.
Okay, let me work on this.
Yeah, I think something else that came to mind about this trip and being away from technology is how dependent people have become on pushing buttons and doing everything virtually. Like, no one actually wants to do anything anymore. Nobody wants to change their own oil. No one wants to patch a hole with plaster, whatever. You know, you got a hole in your drywall. No one wants to do that themselves. No one wants to paint anything themselves. No one wants to get their hands dirty. People don't want to clean their own shit. You know, they were, oh, I got to pay somebody to come in and clean everything for me. Like
I got an argument for that.
well, I'm just saying, like, everybody thinks they're fucking royalty today. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Nobody actually wants to ever get their hands dirty with anything. Like, oh, someone else will do it. Why doesn't someone take care of this? Why don't you do it? Like, does everybody do people have such low opinions of their own intelligence that they don't think, oh, I could never do that. I could never figure it out.
Well, like with the oil change thing, like I know how to change my own oil, but you know, if you're if you do the math on it, typically when you go and buy your 4 or 5 quarts of oil and your oil filter and stuff like that, that it's about the same cost as taking it to a Jiffy Lube place. So it really doesn't make, you know, especially if your time is very valuable, you know, when you're a top G like myself, then, you know, spending that time doing an oil change could be better spent doing something else. But like patching a wall, you know, that's not hard either. So I don't mind doing stuff like that because that's sort of easy work. And
well, I mean, it's not even simpler. Like just cleaning your damn house.
Mm-hmm.
Like cleaning.
Oh,
up
I hire a housekeeper too.
But I'm just saying, like, oh, I mean, I just don't get it. Like, you know, like something like we're such a wasteful. I think it's just wasteful and weak. Like nobody wants to do anything anymore. We buy shitty IKEA furniture that barely lasts and it's a waste and ends up in a landfill in a few years. Like nobody's like, oh well, my table's a little broken. I'm gonna throw it out and buy a new thing, and it's get an IKEA table. Why don't you get a decent table and fix it? Like there's things you can fix. You can refurbish things. You can put some effort into your life and do things for yourself. I don't know. I'm just noticing this trend with useless people who want everything done for them. They're grown children who don't want to clean up after themselves. They don't want to cut their own steak.
Well, that's how they've been raised. For example, now even I'm kind of guilty of that, where I was conditioned, oh, go to college, this and that. Oh, do you like economics? You should study it. And I always thought like, oh, okay, well, maintenance and repair, it wasn't that it was beneath me. It's like, well, that's their field of specialty and labor. Like the mechanics will do this. They will build the things. I'll go analyze risks of loans and investments. And that's how I contribute to the economy. And it wasn't until I got my first house when I was 24, it was a while ago, but where, oh, I got to work on this shit. And at first it was a pain in the ass. You know, it's like, God dang, I got to do, and I knew that there was going to be maintenance and all that. But now that I'm older, I prefer to be working on my car. For example, it wasn't a big major fix, but I had to replace some fuel lines on my motorcycle. I enjoyed going out into my garage, opening up the garage door, nice breeze coming in. I tuned in, obviously, to the Come On Man podcast with Paul Bauer. I mean, obviously, that's what you got to do when you're listening. And it was just wrenching on that. It was easy fix. But I prefer that way more, even more than just doing videos. Because I think, especially for men, I think you need to be working with your hands in some capacity or regard or being outside. I don't mind cleaning even. There was one time the girlfriend was gone. She's out with her girlfriends. And I just cleaned the house for 4 hours. And it was very relaxing and meditative. And
It's rewarding.
Right. It's rewarding. And I don't think we teach, especially young men, that where it's just like, oh, no, you do this one thing. You don't need to be a MacGyver. You don't need to be a jack of all trades. You don't need to be handy at all. You do this one thing and everything else is taken care of. And the economy is efficient enough that you can have division of labor. You have labor saving devices and processes and machinery, but it leaves a shit ton of free time. That time, for men anyway, is for you to go out and improve your home, fix the cars, maybe engage in some kind of industriousness, but they don't teach them that. And so now what it is, okay, what do? Oh, I go watch social media. I tune into sports ball. I go on Tinder or whatever. And I get all riled up about whatever's going on politically on the internet, which isn't good for your mentality. And so I don't think men have been trained to do that. And unless they actually come across home ownership, with them all pigeonholed, living at home or living in an apartment, they're never going to learn it. It's just never going to come. And I think, yes, there will be if not already, a tremendous psychological cost to that.
Hey, going back to what you guys were talking about, or Fitch, what you were talking about with people cheering on their political teams and stuff like that. Have you seen the Octopus Murders docuseries on Netflix yet?
Man, was it the government thing there in Texas? Not Texas, but down Southern California.
It's the federal government under the Reagan administration. They used the Department of Justice to steal Inslaw. That was a software company.
Yes,
stole their
tracking and killed a bunch of people. And yeah. We saw part of that. We started part of that.
Well, what I think is,
a while it got frustrating because it's like and nothing happened, and like everybody's reporting this and nobody's talking about it, and it's like, so what? So like, I mean,
but my point with that is that it's funny because a lot of people are like, oh, the Democrats, they're so dirty, vote Republicans. Like, the Republicans are just as dirty.
Dude,
they do crazy shit, you know.
I lived through the 80s. I remember hearing stuff on the news and whatever going on. I lived through freaking Bush. I lived through W. Like the 2000s. That wasn't that long ago. I remember. I know there was a lot of people who were children at the time, but like that's why I had a big blowback the other day because I was making jokes about the assassination stuff or whatever, and people were pissed because I thought you were right wing. I thought you were conservative, but like I'm just like telling the truth. So like if the truth bothers you now, maybe you should introspect what you're dealing with.
Well, it's funny how people have these ego investments in, you know, Team Red or Team Blue or, you know, their team religion. And it's
they're gangs. They're gangs. Ice-T, I posted a thing the other day with Ice-T talking about how they're gangs. He called them the Democrips and the blood publicans.
Jesse the Body Ventura. That was him.
Jesse. That's right.
Jesse Ventura's stuff's fascinating too. He's really big into conspiracy theories and stuff. Yeah.
Well, he was a Navy SEAL, right? So he saw a lot of stuff. So he actually knows, like, hey man, he
was governor of Minnesota. That's how he got appear behind the scene in the politics.
Yeah.
Have you guys?
Well, I mean, if you're boots on the ground and you're going to, they're going like South America to like sabotage countries and stuff. Like he's got some insider information, I'm sure, on that stuff and corruption there too.
John, have you guys seen recently what's going on with the influencers? We picked up on this well over a year ago when Cappy got on the DHS list. and
congratulations, by the way.
They were funding these NGOs to actually pay money to influencers to push a message, essentially. Now you're seeing it being revealed. If anybody watches like Next News or any of the other stuff that's out there right now, they have quite a bit of it out there. Speaking of the internet is fake, that they have shifted all those resources to the election and to pushing forward a narrative for the presidential election. And on the left is pretty interesting because you can look at all the talking heads and they have exactly the same script. And you can look at the influencers, and they interviewed an influencer that had just over 200,000 members on Next News Network, and they were paying her between $3,000 and $9,000 per commercial, where she would kind of like quote statistics and surveys that may or may not be true. Most of them are not, with this narrative. And she admitted what she was getting paid to put these commercials or these streams out on all the platforms. Easy to find. Just look up News Network and influencers being paid. It's pretty interesting. It looks like all the ones that were after us are now in the political environment. So when you say the internet is fake, you're kind of touching on the truth.
Yep. It's 100% truth. No, it's all the numbers, all the things that you're made to think are popular. Oh, everybody thinks this is popular. Everybody's watching this video. No, it's not. I don't think that at all. I think it's controlled. I think they're putting things in front of people on purpose. They're trying to condition you to think that certain things are normal.
Right? So yeah, this has been a Marxist theme for a long time. You guys understand the term managed reality, right? So we actually live in a managed reality right now. It's never been easier to manage the reality of somebody when you control the information that they're allowed to see and hear. fake or not. What did Elon say? He was really pissed because of what happened to his son with the trans thing, and he wants to destroy the mind virus now. And his biggest problem was that he's really against people that are for the perception of good while doing evil. And he's right.
Elon's the problem. I'm sorry.
Oh,
everybody out there, like, this is the thing, is this goes back to the thing, people not wanting to do things themselves. And this is the one that bothers me the most, is nobody wants to raise their own goddamn children. Nobody. As soon as they're born, put them with a nanny, put them in preschool, put them in kindergarten, put them into public school or expensive private school. You're always paying out your ass to have someone else raise your child.
Well, you do that anyway.
And then you wonder why, oh my God, this liberal mind virus turned them gay and trans.
No,
oh my God, I am so
correct.
pissed at this liberal mind virus. No, you did it. You did it through neglect because you're a piece of shit who didn't spend time with your child, right? Like, that's the problem.
I agree and I disagree in the fact that if you're going to have children, you want to raise a family, they need a mom and a dad. If dad's got to go to work, mom's right there, kind of supporting the leadership in the family. And so you're right. And I think a lot of folks miss that and they farm it out thinking that, just farming out the time is valuable and it works, but it really goes much deeper.
Well, I just want to say, if you can't do that because, you now have an ex-wife who's a epic bitch and you're now a single dad and you have to work full time. So you don't have time to like homeschool your kid. You sort of have to put them in school, but it is your job to make sure that when they come home, you go, hey, what did you learn in school today? If it's something that aligns with your values, okay, cool. What do you think about that? Right. If it's something that doesn't align with your values, then you need to develop some persuasion skills to say, okay, well, I disagree with your teacher on that. And this is why, and explain to them your point of view, you know?
Yeah. You got to be,
I go through my kids' homework, reading assignments.
Dad.
Like, my son, my 12-year-old son now is capable of being like, oh yeah, man, like this is the book they were assigned to us. I'm reading it. He's like, it's a terrible story. It's just a bunch of messaging. He's 12 and he can understand that the book is just messaging, because I've sat there. They sent home. This is a freaking Catholic school too. They've sent home stuff like about pay inequality and the gender gap and blah blah blah. I'm like, this is all bullshit, guys. Then I'll show them statistics. I mean, they were like 8 and 10 at the time I was doing this, and I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, this is not true. But I had to be there for them. I couldn't just push them aside and expect to be like, oh, well, they're paying a buttload of money for them to go to this school. It's handled. No, I'm constantly looking over their stuff. And there's this idea, I think, that goes along with parenting and a lot of other things. Like, I don't understand why people think that they're so incompetent that they can't do it themselves. Like, I have to pay somebody else because I could never teach my son something. Really? Like, I'm sorry, maybe I'm unique because I have a degree in education and I was going to be a teacher. I was a licensed teacher in Indiana, even though I never taught other than substitute stuff.
What a lot of people don't realize about teaching too is the teachers don't even have to be masters of the information. They're literally giving a kid a book and they're reading out of a book and then they're talking about concepts in the book. Like 100%. anybody can fucking do that.
That's the story I tell my sons all the time. It's like, guys, when I was in, I didn't get very good grades until like the 5th grade. Right. And that was like after the second half of the year, is because I got in trouble for grades and I couldn't finish the wrestling season. My mom got mad at me. So I had to like start figuring out how to get my grade up. So then I figured out how to cheat. You know how I cheated? I figured out all the answers were in the book. I figured out all the answers in the book. So all I had to do was read the book. And
Isn't that amazing?
Then I get a good grade on the test. Oh my God.
Well, you know what? I was a terrible student until I joined the military.
If you're an adult and you know how to read, you can teach a child anything up until probably 10th grade. And then
I'll give you.
You can do anything, guys. If you can read. When I designed and built my entire Powerwall system and water well, these take journeyman craftsmen to build. I didn't do any of that. I went and got a book. Did I make mistakes? Yes, I did. But I read all of this out of a book and then translated it into the skills that I had. You can do that. Reading is probably one of the most important things. And that's why these folks give them the books with the agenda and message in it, because reading is so powerful, And as a single dad, Sure, you want to raise these kids. It is absolutely doable. Is it as good as having a mom that's on your side? No, but it is absolutely doable. And you can teach these kids. Homeschool might be a little tough, but you know what? You can monitor it. You can teach them problem solving skills and how to recognize wisdom through pain, suffering, and experience. And so you can absolutely raise kids in a good way, and you don't have to farm them out. And if you do have to farm them out because they have to go to school and you have to go to work, the quality time you spend with them afterwards makes all the difference in the world.
I to even more fully explain so the audience can comprehend how worthless teachers are, because, well, I hate teachers because you're utterly hateable and completely worthless. Even though we're against social media, you can replace teachers with yourself, which would kind of be good because there's a peer there, but you can replace teachers with YouTube. Once you teach your children autodidactism, which is self-teaching and self-learning, they're golden. They don't need a teacher ever again. Maybe guidance or something like that, or some expert. But but I would argue that is not using social media. How many of you guys use YouTube to figure out how to fix something, like mechanic or otherwise? Right, exactly. I think there is some good use of a
Yes.
practical application. But yeah, I don't know if I mentioned how much I hate teachers.
Yeah, you're right. Like the social media apps and stuff. I'm not saying we should always throw them out and never use them. They're a tool. They're a tool that you need to use and use wisely. But if you're not careful, they end up using you.
Yeah, I think a good point with that is, most of us are on social media quite a bit, but because we do this for, a living, we're professional podcasters.
Yeah, I
And
don't make any money. I just like being
some of us are professional podcasters.
I just
So
like
we,
pissing
so,
people off and
so we
arguing
have
on the
to,
internet.
we have to market our stuff on social media. It is a method of marketing. And so we do spend a little bit of time on social media every day, but you can control what's in your timeline. I don't see a lot of news on my timeline. I'm not looking at that kind of shit. Occasionally, one of the guys in the space will post something and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. But I don't focus my attention on it. I used to do that though. I used to be that guy that was, team red and always watched the news and was doing all that kind of stuff until 2020 happened and I realized everything is bullshit. Everything's complete nonsense. And I stopped focusing on it. And I noticed that my life just got infinitely better. My mindset got infinitely better because I'm not focusing on the negative, and the news keeps you in the negative all the time.
It's negative and it's stuff you can't do anything about. What are you going to do about shit 10,000 miles away? Like, what are you doing?
Right. And I realized that, I'm very much like Cappy. I live out in the middle of fucking nowhere. And so 99.9% of the shit that they're reporting on the global news doesn't impact my daily life at all, a single bit. And they're like, well, what about gas prices? I work from home. It doesn't bother me, but you also need to get to a point too, where you're making enough money where you're not so concerned with what the fucking gas pump says either, and that you could do by not focusing on this shit and focusing on your grind, but a lot of guys don't want to do that. They want to be victims.
That's hard. It's hard.
Another important thing to point out is, okay, social media doesn't reflect reality 100%. There's a lot of fanfare and extremism and, oh, look, it's edgy. However, it does come down from the real world in society. My question is, we're all, I think we're about 50. Fitch, you're probably the youngest here, but we're all got 40 years under us. Has this society been one you really want to pay attention to or invest in? Like, I'm done watching this society show, because it's just dumbass shit we could have predicted 20 years ago. Like, oh my God, I'm like so poor and like I can't afford it and I need a baby daddy. Someone got to step up and fuck you. Don't care anymore. I just don't care. And Paul, you're right. Are you tending your own garden? And so the more and more you uninvest from society or less dependent upon it, especially for your entertainment, the way it is a mentally ill and a genuinely toxic society. And it's been that way for a while, whether it was the Jerry Springer show or girls poofing their bangs or, oh, everyone's got to go to college and let's suck Karl Marx's dick. Fuck all you people. I'm going to go and focus on my friends. I'm going to focus on my family. I'm going to focus on the people that I care about. I'm going to focus on my immediate world, like a mile radius from my house. That's the most important shit to me right now. and the rest of the world can just go fuck off and die. And then when all of a sudden it comes at your doors, then it's the question, all right, how much did you hedge against society? Do you have backup plans? Are you like, oh no, I'm trying to think of something. Oh, they're taking my fancy car away. What are you doing with a fancy car? You know, this kind of shit like that. I know it's wrong and all that, but man, it really is the amount of time you waste paying attention to shit that don't matter. That could have been spent focusing on yourself, learning skills, learning trades that will inoculate you against this bullshit. That's the real trend. That's why you should be setting it down. And okay, fine, touch grass, but I'd say go learn to weld or go become a mechanic or something.
Yeah, have some kind of marketable skill that can make you some money.
Part of me thinking about this stuff and wanting to do this show was just being back home, right? Because being around my parents. My dad's in his 80s. My mom's in her 70s. My grandmother turns 100 today. All right, happy birthday, happy centennial.
Fantastic.
Wow.
And my dad, my mom, like they're mowing the lawn, they're building things, they're cutting wood, they're chopping wood. Like he's 80. He's moving. He built his paddleboard some years ago. It's heavy. Like I have a hard time carrying moving around. He's taking that thing down off the rafters so we can use it. He actually had an accident. I should have put it back up before I left, but he had an accident because he was trying to put it back up and it slipped and it hit him and he got stitches on his eye. He's in his 80s. He's doing these things. There are 20-something-year-olds who would not do this stuff, who would not mow their lawn, who would not pick weeds, who would not chop wood. But my dad is still doing this stuff. He's a master craftsman. He's been building like things with wood for a long time. He makes bowls, plates, dishes. He's built all the furniture in the house, the cupboards, everything by hand. He built a canoe. Like these old guys at the lake were like, man, that's a pretty nice canoe. You could probably sell that for like $10,000, $12,000, you know? And I'm just used to people doing things for themselves. I have aunts and uncles and cousins and people who like do things themselves. They're not pushing buttons and be like, oh, well, I've got to have my lawn mowed, so I'm going to pay Jose to do it because I'm so important. I'm so important. I have to watch these Instagram reels while Jose mows my lawn.
I think that if you're look at Thor, I mean, he's 1,500 years old. He stays pretty young because he stays active. He's not just sitting around doing nothing. You know, I think that keeps a guy young. You know, a lot of people start dying when they retire because they stop doing shit. So your dad being 80, still doing shit around the house is probably what's keeping him going. You know,
like I forget how old my parents are sometimes. He still moves around like he's in his 40s.
Yeah. Have you ever heard the expression motion is lotion?
Yeah, and you got to do things with your buddies. I mean, John came down and visited me for a few days. We got to play with some binary impact, exothermic chemicals, and have some fun. And boy, that definitely rejuvenates you for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Having your friends around you, your social group, especially when they have similar interests, you know.
Yep.
So don't discount that. I bet your dad does have a social group.
I mean, my mom and aunts and uncles mostly.
Okay. Family's important. Yeah.
Yeah. And he golfs,
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Right there.
Once he goes out and plays golf here and there.
Do you guys?
I'll tell you, man, like their neighbors at the lake. This guy, he's a retired judge. He's got a nice house. He's in his late 70s. He's out there mowing the lawn and cutting the hedges and carrying out the garbage. He's doing all this stuff himself too. Like it was not like my dad was just some kind of like freak special person who no one else was like. Like his neighbor was doing the same thing. There are other people around on the lake who are doing the same thing because it's kind of like an older community of people on that lake now. It's a really nice lake.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, only recently did I start hiring it done. You saw what I have to take care of, so
yeah.
But that's okay. We'll get back there. It's not really much of an issue. Hey, I want to ask you guys a question. We talked about children earlier, and I'm pretty passionate about this, and I have a strong belief You guys may disagree. I'm totally cool with it. I actually regret not having more children. I think it's easier the more children you have to raise, even if you can't put the time aside, it forces you into a quality environment with those children. If you're any sort of conscientious man that wants to express his masculinity, I think that having more children is actually easier than having less. My evidence is look at the single child syndrome that people have, the small amount of children. Then you look at the larger families, much tighter knit. They come together, they support each other. I got to say, for someone that's raised 4 children and has 13 grandchildren, I wish I had more. I
do
think
too.
that even if you can't homeschool them, you can monitor and guide them through your own experience and wisdom in amazing ways. And there's going to be a lot of people, no, you have to be with them 100% of the time. A lot of women demand this. You don't. You absolutely don't. And you can have quality outcomes.
Yeah,
No,
I'm
I
good
don't-
with my 2. I'm good with my 2.
Yeah, well,
I don't-
my dad was the oldest of 8.
Mhm.
So there was 22 grandsons on the Fitch side. And yes, I wish I had at least 5 kids.
Yeah.
I really do. I'm sorry, but like the bigger families, like in every experience I've had personally with big families has always been positive. I've seen a
Same.
lot of negative stuff like online, and through television shows or whatever. But
Through
like
the fake internet,
personal experience, yeah, the
through
internet.
the fake internet that wants us
Yeah.
not to have children.
People who maybe it's messaging, but the people who I've actually met and spent time with, their families are amazing.
Yeah.
Like they're very close knit. They have tight friends and groups mit right in. They're more social. They're more personable. Like I just see a lot of quality from big families.
Yeah.
I
think
have
it's
a
because they
question.
have to be.
I have a question now. Unlike you guys, I don't have children. I just have money. But
Good for you.
I have both.
anyway, now tell me if I'm wrong here, because you guys have been down this path. It would seem to me, as an impartial third party independent person outside looking in, that if there was somebody to, I don't know, an adult to stay the fuck home and raise the kids, that in a large family, once the eldest was raised to a certain level, the eldest could then also watch over all the successive little children. And then I don't know what the original person, what we would call it, who stays at home and raises the kid. Let's just say it rhymes with knife. All right. And if this thing would stay at home and raise the first couple of kids to that they could then, and then this thing that rhymes with knife could go out and let's just say hurl toss after establishing the original kid. And then I have seen it with other large families where the eldest kids start taking care of the younger ones. And there's a lot more family cohesion. And you're right, Fitch. When I've seen large families, they tend to be a lot happier. But I don't know what the nexus would be, what the critical catalyst would be to making sure the children were raised if someone were to stay home. I don't know who that would be or what that would be, but it's just a theory I have.
Well, it's a brilliant observation. Now, what's happened, including with the children I raised, when you reach that nexus to where the oldest child is capable, their leadership qualities automatically start to appear. And that's a big deal for human beings for their success the rest of their life. So that's an observation I made. Don't know where it goes. I haven't investigated it much, but you will.
Also have, especially hearing stories about my dad and his siblings growing up. Like they had jobs, they had chores, they had things that they did that were age appropriate for that time period. So that might be, a 10-year-old or 8-year-old catching a chicken and cutting its head off and then plucking it. that may have been a job you had as an 8 or 10-year-old because everybody else had something to do. So you had to do something too. And I think if you can divide, you got an army of people working on your stuff, if you can do that. And then they learn and benefit from doing that. They learn skills, they learn abilities. Like you have to actually take care of the chickens. You have a squad of 3 little kids. Like these are the chickens. You must feed them, must change the stuff. And if you don't, they die. And then we don't eat. Your family doesn't eat.
Yeah, those are good lessons. I don't think they're fully required. There's lots of stuff today that would take that place, but that example you used is a pretty strong example of you do it or you go hungry. And so you develop those leadership skills and you develop much closer bonds with that family. They rely on you. You learn about honor, integrity, all of those sort of things, loyalty to the family. Those things, that's time in grade, that's wisdom. It's pain, it's suffering, it's experience all wrapped together. that you see in bigger families that are hard to come by with smaller families. It's doable. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, the only regret I have is not having even more kids. So
Yep.
Yeah, I'm good with my 2, and I made sure that I don't have any more.
Well,
I followed that guy Rolo's advice and got myself a vasectomy.
I eventually did too because I was getting way too many. But in retrospect, that was not for me. I probably should have had more. Taking applications now, or at least practicing.
Yeah, for practice.
I'm trying right now for.
We're just practicing.
We're working on a third right now. Yeah,
That's the fun part, you know.
Yeah.
That is the fun part. I'm glad you guys had kids, and I did not. I just
Well,
I
my
know.
oldest son does not, Cappy. It's not a requirement.
Mm.
I think you can lead the best life ever without having children. You absolutely can.
Mm.
And then there's some.
I mean, it's a risk because it takes two to tango. You got to have a partner to have a kid, and we know what the other side of that equation kind of looks like today, and how hard it is to find somebody worthy of your seed.
We got to come up with a term for a person like that. I'm just thinking it should rhyme with knife or maybe strife, or
strife is good. Yeah,
strife. Yeah. What? We should come up with a term. I think there's a need for a person to take that role. Well, you should just come up with a name for it, though. Then we can refer to it.
Yeah,
as such.
we should. You know, and there's another category out there that's very rare, and I'm going to shout out Paul Benjamin from Apex Mindset. Sometimes, even in men, that parental drive is strong, and you find somebody suffering as very young, and you adopt a child, and they become yours, strong as blood. And that's kind of amazing to watch as well. That's by choice. I've seen that happen a couple of times, and that's pretty amazing. So shout out Paul Benjamin for being that kind of guy.
All right, answer this guy right here. He says you're looking for the world that no longer exists. You're not listening. I just told you I was in Indiana and I saw this world. I see this world. It's there. It exists. There is some bad news that I'll get into also over my trip that I should talk with you guys about. But it's the idea that California, you know, that world does exist. There are people who have big families, who are married, they own land, they have their own businesses. I know those people. I've seen those people. They exist. They're out there. It's hard to find. It's hard to do, but you can do it. If you unplug from the bullshit in the internet, you can do it.
If you go inland more, away from places like Los Angeles, from
you get away from
New York City, from Miami, from
big city hubs, even like East LA is not the same as like Hollywood area.
Yeah,
you know, Seattle, the world is what you make it. The world is what you make it.
The world is what you make it. 100%. The bad news I need to share is that even being out in Indiana, all the way out in Indiana, Californication is real. It's real. It's spreading. It's going everywhere. I mean, we just saw the Olympics opening ceremony. It was a bunch of trannies doing the Last Supper or something, right? So it's so normalized that even when you go into somewhere like the Midwest, like you still are going to get some of this super left ideology. They moved the center so far to the left now that everything is a lot more feminine. Even the people who think that they are hardcore right-wing conservatives, they're still very far left from where the center used to be.
Colorado is basically California light now. It's been so infiltrated. If you go down to Grand Junction used to be, you know, as west as you can get. Cowboys, you know, very red-blooded Americans, and you go down there now and it's all rainbow people and shit, and you're like, what the fuck happened to Grand Junction of all places? Grand Junction.
No, like downtown Fort Wayne, Indiana. You drive around, there's rainbow flags and Black Lives Matters things, and it's you know, it's wild. It's wild, but
no matter what happens to
the disease, it's a mind virus.
Yeah, the country is going to go left. I mean, it's just human nature, and we're going to go through this cycle again.
Yeah.
You don't have to hang out with these people. I mean, Thor lives in California. Thor doesn't hang out with the Marxist, woe is me complainers and whiners. He goes out and shoots guns, you know, does whatever Thor does. And so
you know, I will use them in fun ways where they're not aware of it socially. So
yeah, but I moved to South Dakota to get away from Minnesota politics and all that. But even in Minnesota, why would you surround yourself with those people, which you wouldn't, but then why would you listen to them online? Like, I'm not gonna if I'm not gonna hang out with you in person, the fuck if I'm gonna listen to you online. Yeah, I got it. You're oppressed and you're a victim, and I owe you more money because of whatever reason, and da 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 da. Enjoy being a fat, unfuckable pig with your dyed hair who contemplates whether it's worth living every day or not. At the end of the day, that's what it is. I got more important shit. Do you guys know why if I do post a picture, it's always me giving the finger?
Yes.
Yeah, Thor does. I do it because I want to give a finger to all the people who are believing in this worthless horse shit. Like, look at the beauty behind me. Look at the day I'm having. Look at all the freedom I got. Like, you cannot take that away from me.
100%.
And yes, okay, it is on social media. But if you look at most of my social media pictures, where my finger is prominently displayed in the background, 98 out of 100 times, it's some beautiful thing that these motherfuckers will never see. They might see somebody shitting in the street in San Francisco. They might see traffic and rush hour. They might see their boss coming in. Yeah, you know what? JB doobie, gotta come in for a meeting. They won't see it. Yep. And it's largely because they choose not to. And that, I think that would be one of the things we're trying to tell everybody is you don't have to participate. Fine, the country's going one way. You could still go and have some fun.
There's no rainbow flags in the middle of the national forest. I have yet to see one.
You know what else isn't in the middle of the national forest?
What's that, Cappy?
Fat people. There are no fat people in the middle of a national forest.
It's hard to get into the middle.
Hey, you guys heard California is going to change its state animal, right? It was a grizzly bear.
Oh, what's it going to be?
Turn into a lamprey? What?
A panda.
Shut up.
China's national bear.
What, really?
The fuck out. They're not doing that.
We are California. Come on, man. California.
I was like, is that a real thing? Is Thor just fucking around? I don't even know.
Isn't the panda much better than the grizzly bear?
I mean, I don't think pandas are even real.
They're not even really bears, are they? Aren't they?
There is zero mention of pandas anywhere in Chinese history or folklore anywhere up until like somewhere in the 1900s. Like they didn't exist. They didn't exist until recent times. There's no evidence of them existing until recent times. Now they can't get them to mate.
Wait,
they've been caught in multiple zoos and places of putting people in costumes dressed like pandas and painting dogs to look like pandas.
Wait, John, are you saying that panda bears are a conspiracy?
Yes.
Man, the robot dog overlords.
Fucking robot pandas. God damn it.
Pandas, I believe, are a genetically made thing by China just to sell tourism and sell bullshit.
This is
not real. That's why they can't get them to fuck. That's why there's zero evidence of them existing anywhere before recent times. There's no Chinese book way back ago where there's a picture of somebody drawing a panda.
This is fat. I'm going to go down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, you are. You are, bro. Go down the panda.
I like
hole.
A good conspiracy.
The
man.
panda hole.
You know, Thor got me in watching fucking Billy Carson shit.
Mission accomplished. Mission accomplished.
Yeah. That guy's got some.
Here you go. This guy gets it.
Yeah, but it's pretty entertaining, isn't it?
Pandas are a psyop. Confirmed.
You know what? Some of his stuff, I'm going to say Billy Carson, some of his stuff to me seems very plausible. Okay. His Emerald Tablets book is nonsense.
Yeah, no.
But the Sumerian tablets, I can see that. The Anunnaki, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Cappy, what's your take on the Anunnaki?
What's
Lizard
Anunnaki?
people?
Lizard people?
Fucking aliens, Cappy.
No.
Aliens.
No,
Aliens.
There's another pissing away of time. Okay, so Paul, you might see this because you're out in the mountains.
Sure.
Thor and Fitch, not so much because you guys are California. But Paul, do you see these fucking dipshits who I so want to write a book called The Case for Bleeping Yourself. Okay. Or the case for self-deletion. And it's a real serious point I want to make. But these people would be up there. Do you see these guys who actually go Sasquatch hunting? Have you seen these? I know they're on the internet, but have you seen these people?
I've never seen them in person, like while I'm out in the woods or anything.
Right. I mean, but there are people like that out there. And this whole aliens and Sasquatch and conspiracy theory. It's like, dude, fucking go outside. Okay, there's aliens. What are we going to do about it? Oh, there's a Sasquatch. What are we going to do about it? You know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to go look for Sasquatch, a scat. Like, oh, look, there's a scratch on this. Oh, there's going to be a squatch.
This is a squatchy area.
This is a squatch footprint. Oh, my God. I'm a fat middle-aged white guy who ain't getting leg. I'm going to go look for Sasquatch. Like, fuck you. Just go. God, Jesus Christ, go do anything. I mean, look, I know the internet's bad. Social media is bad, but don't replace social media with dipshittery in the real world either. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know. If you read the book Fingerprints of the Gods, Cappy, you might change your tune. You might change it.
Look, okay, let's say it's all true. Have they tangibly done anything here yet? No. So
Pyramids.
Fine. You know what? Let's say you're all right. All of you are right. It's aliens. It's the Egyptians. We was Kangs and she. All right. It's all true. It's lizard people, everything. Does it change what I and you are going to do today?
No. We're still going to talk shit on Rule Zero. That's what.
Here's a great question. When we're done with this, what are you guys going to do today?
Oh, I got date night tonight with Nurse Chick.
I am teaching wrestling class at 11, and then me and my woman will be watching Violence most of the day, and then some fun sex later.
Okay, Thor?
I want to take a nap.
Or wins. Or wins.
I rest my eyes a little bit.
I'm going to go hiking and sight some guns. You know what? And whether there's aliens or not, whether it was the Egyptian space pyramids, doesn't matter. At the end of the day, I'm going to have a better life and a better day than the average fuckwit consuming social media today.
Right. Which brings us back to topic.
Well, no, that was my point.
We kind of mentioned some good things. This is one of the things I want to cover too, was what are some ways for us to avoid the internet, to avoid these traps, to touch grass, so to speak, as the kids say today, so that we're not these I call my sons when they're on their devices too much, I call them blue face. Why are you being a blue face? So what are the strategies and the things that we can do to prevent ourselves becoming a blue face?
Choose.
Do you guys get the reference, blue face?
Yeah, blue screen, right?
Yeah, you got the screen. Yeah.
Choose not to. I mean, that's it. Just go out to choose. You know what? I've done enough social media for today. I'm going to choose to do something else. That would be the simple thing. I choose not to eat and become a fat pig. I choose to exercise. You simply choose. Now, what you fill your free time in with,
how to fight and not be a pussy.
Right. I would say at minimum, every American alive today should take an hour out of their social media and go to the gym or go for a walk.
One thing
physical exercise.
40-minute walk a day. Go for a walk. Walk your dog.
Mile a walk a day or 2 mile walk. Absolutely.
You know what? One thing that I've been doing lately is turning off the TV, turning off the cell phone, and picking up an actual book. Right?
Yeah.
Like an actual book like this.
Well,
right?
now hold on. Let's not get radical.
That's not
here.
a Bible, by the way.
Hardcover.
It's a hardcover book. Just something. Sit down and read something that, because you know what, a lot of books don't have all the modern fucking agenda messaging in it.
Yeah.
Especially if it's like a self-help type book that you'll learn something from.
100%. I get some hobbies, guys. Get some hobbies. Learn something. Build something. Like learn an instrument. It was I can't remember his name right now, but there was a fighter recently. It was like, man, you guys are a bunch of dorks worrying about politicians. You need to go out and learn to play an instrument or talk to girls or work out something. Yeah. Matt Brown. And he was 100% correct. Like, it's a bunch of dorks playing like this we're the best popularity contest in politics, and it doesn't really benefit their lives in any way. They could be spending that time like learning something, learn how to dance, learn how to shoot a gun, learn how to shoot a bow and arrow, learn how to make something. My dad freaking learned how to make a canoe by looking shit up on YouTube. He built, I remember a bunch of years ago, he built a sauna. He bought some infrared paneling, right? He bought the hardware and then he built the rest. He built the box. He built that stuff. How? He looked up blueprints on the internet.
Learn how to fix a computer, right? The other day, my hard drive crashed, and it was like the night before I did a stream, so I had to I scrambled and did a stream anyway on a different laptop. But that next day after the stream, I went and got a new hard drive and I put it in my laptop. I restored the computer from a backup. And the funny thing is, some guy, one of the guys in my beer club was like, "Oh, your computer's having problems. You have to go get a new computer." I'm like, "No, I'm not going to spend $3,000 on a new fucking computer when I can replace the part that broke, like the one little part."
I had the same issue with my my laptop. I broke my laptop. Screen has cracked twice, and I had to buy a brand new top panel. So I've had to change that out twice now. Like now I'm like, I feel like I'm Mr. Wizard with electronics because I can replace that.
It's easier than you think. It's easier than you think to work
on. Most thing, like I want to fix my girlfriend's. She's got a like a 2000-ish 4Runner, and the air conditioning button fell out. So we looked up where to buy the button. You can buy that off of Amazon. That'll be here in a couple days. Then we found a YouTube video. And you can just pull the thing clean out. It's built like Legos. A lot of things today are built like Legos. They're put together pretty easily. And once you find the videos, there's usually like 10 on everything that you could think of. You're going to find something that'll show you exactly what you need. Like I found, like if I can write exactly what I'm looking for, sometimes in a search, like I'll get the exact thing I'm looking for because I'm not special. I'm not the only one that had that problem.
Yeah.
And here's an incredible point to make. And what was your opportunity cost? Paul, what were you really gonna do if you had not had that time? I mean, we can't all be having sex with redheaded harems all the time. And for us, we might actually have a genuine opportunity cost. Fitch working out, Thor working on your house, me legal law shit going on, whatever. But for the average fat, dopey, dumb shit American, what's your opportunity cost? You weren't going to be doing anything with that anyway. You're just going to get on the internet and get pissed off listening to Tim Pool or Matt Walsh or the Young Turks or whatever. At the end of that time, you'll be in a better mood and you'll have saved money, especially the things we're talking about. You saved money.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I mean, I probably would have been using that time to, fuck around the internet. And just like you said, I would have been fucking around on the internet, interacting with people's comments and stuff like that. I just skipped that and went and fixed my laptop, And I didn't lose any views on any of my videos, so I didn't really lose anything by not interacting with people online.
Well, I would say just in general though, there's like 3 things that every person, though I'd really focus on the young people because obviously they're more addicted to social media and the internet and fake world. And there's always 3 things you can work on. You can work on your physical health. Like that should be number 1. Like if you are out of shape, you shouldn't even be on the internet. You should be getting in physical shape. Then there's your financial shape or your financial health. That's always a punching bag you can go punch. Very few people got their financial shit together. And then assuming you own a home, all right, Thor, and Fitch, yeah, you own a house, and Paul, yeah, I think we all own houses here. But do houses just take care of themselves?
No.
I would definitely take your advice, Cappy. I just reorder it. Taking action is the number one thing. You have to take action. You can't sit on the computer and watch the fake internet. Taking action is must, and then developing your problem-solving skills. That's what it is to be a man, and that's what it is to solve problems and get things done and be respected.
Yep.
I'm just saying, if somebody is looking for something, well, what do I do? Here are 3 things that you should be doing without a doubt, and they're almost inexhaustible. Now, I am working on my estate planning, as I was telling Fitch before. I am near the finish line, so I will have to worry. There's no more financial planning on my end. I mean, there are ends to it, but the the skills you learn, the mental comfort and serenity that comes with having, nope, my house is, I don't have to worry about the foundation cracking or water in the basement. All the peace and serenity and calm that comes with, yep, I got myself in good physical shape and my blood numbers look good. You can't put a price on that. And so that I'd rather have that peace and calm and serenity and contentment than getting the Democrats or the Republicans or whatever like that.
Hey, Fitch, can you bring up what Fit Pill Red says about anyone can YouTube how to fix a computer? Because right before that, he says these days learning how to fix a computer won't get you a job. I'll tell you what, though, most people don't know that they can do that. They don't know that they could go and YouTube how to fix a computer. So they are paying for your expertise, which is to look up on YouTube how to fix a computer. So they absolutely will pay for that. When I talk about it in my book, but when I was first getting into IT,
overcharge.
Yeah, when I first got into IT, I, as a side hustle, I would go fix people's computers. I would post an ad on Craigslist, and I would go and charge people $50 an hour, and 99.9% of that was going to people's houses and running free antivirus software that I would download from the internet. And I would spend literally like 2 hours because they would have old shitty laptops that would take 2 hours to run a scan, and I would make $100 running free software. And at first, I was like, oh, I probably shouldn't do this. I think I might be ripping people off. And then one of the guys that taught me to do that, they're like, oh, you should go out and do this as a side hustle. He goes, no. They're not paying for the free software that they could get themselves. They don't know about the free software. They're paying for your expertise to find that free software for them and to run the software for them. So like Cappy says, these people are lazy. John says people are lazy. They are fucking lazy, and they will pay you to do that. So yeah, they absolutely. And so that's the way I looked at it. I was like, oh, they're paying for my expertise on running AVG antivirus. You know,
and you can make even more if you're a network guy.
No, yeah, like there are places all over San Jose. Sometimes there's just a sign outside of somebody's house. It's like laptop, phone, whatever repair, and that's just some guy who spent a lot of time watching YouTube videos and just figuring it out as he goes.
Dude, 99%. I've been in IT for fucking 20 years now. I'm really good at what I do, but I also am really good at Google searching shit. You know, when I don't know how to do it, I can fix anything because of Google search, but a lot of people don't even, I know guys in the business that don't know how to Google shit. And they're like, Paul, how do you fix this? I'm like, let me Google that for you, you fucking dipshit. You know, like.
Well, there's an age gap thing, I think, because I never really used the internet until I was older, right? Like I didn't have an email until I was forced to my freshman year of college. You know, even in the 2000s, like I was mostly fighting, and I didn't use the computer much for anything other than like porn and like buying stupid stuff. I didn't like search things up or like read whatever. It wasn't something that I needed to use, so I didn't use it that much. So like it does like happen a lot where I forget that I can just Google something.
Yeah.
God,
But guys in my industry,
they
should know better. They should know better, but they don't fucking know.
But it's just,
I was having this conversation with one of the guys that works for me. I was showing them how you can use ChatGPT to write PowerShell scripts and stuff for you. I was like, you don't have to know how to. You don't have to know PowerShell now. You could just ask ChatGPT to write up a PowerShell script that does all this shit for you. And they're like, this is amazing. They're like, how are people going to have jobs? I go, the people that are going to have jobs are going to be the people that know how to use this to their advantage. Those are the people that are going to have jobs. The guys that don't know how to do that, they're going to be out of work. So it behooves you, you know, if you're in that industry, to learn how to use these new technologies to your advantage.
I think everybody should learn something about AI. It's pretty powerful, and it does what you ask it to do generally right now. And so getting in now and learning how to use those prompts, I'm way behind the curve, but I can see the potential.
I use it so much now. I don't, if AI went away tomorrow, I'd be like, I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do. I don't know how to do my podcast now. Like I'm gonna have to write up notes like a fucking
dude. I make some do that for every one of our Dragon shifts. We'd have the meetings. Remember?
Yeah. Oh yeah. The other day I had to hop in and take over Dragon ship. I just fucking threw some notes together with AI. I was like, here we go. Here we have a show now.
I make some dope thumbnails with AI.
Oh yeah.
Dope thumbnails.
Yeah, today's thumbnail I made for John, it was using AI. Yeah.
No, really? Humans
No.
don't look like that? I couldn't
No.
have told. Yeah.
John Connor
I
is
can't
looking
draw
down.
that good. I can't draw
John
that good.
Connor is looking down on you guys right now, making friends with AI and shaking his head.
No, I haven't used AI for thumbnails at all. I mean, the last thumbnail I made was on California. It's crazy.
Why,
Did it
real
all by
quick, why
myself.
is Nuke in the chat room and not here? Why
I
is
don't
he
know.
here?
He's got
Hmm.
work today.
Oh, is he a big
Oh,
important fella? Oh, does he
yeah.
have? Oh man, well,
Mm.
Yeah. He's got a jorb. It's not that
He's got an important one too. He really does.
Yeah.
And that's on X to piss all of the single moms off over 35.
can I, Fitch? I did want to talk about
Yeah.
this before we conclude because we're coming up on over an hour. So just so y'all know, have you heard of dead internet theory? I know Fitch, you probably have, but have you guys heard it?
Yep.
So getting back to it all being fake, whether it's these TikTok girls like, oh my God, I can't work. He subscribed to me and all that other shit. Although we're starting to see, I think with street smarts and all that, we're starting to see through the bullshit. But especially social media, there are so many bots. There are so many fake accounts.
Yep.
And gentlemen, would you discriminate or differentiate between an actual bot Twitter account or a human being who's an NPC that is a hired activist just to retweet and send out shit? Would you delineate between them?
No.
No.
Same.
And what you have to
Same.
understand, getting back to the controlled narrative, this has happened kind of to my benefit a couple times. Early on with the Mad Max articles being written like 15 years ago, to more modernly today, where Twitter and different social media, they have bot accounts. So if you see these, they're weird. They're you look at them and like, why is there a random avatar? Why is there no congruency or consistency with their posting and all that? And if you happen to be on social media, you make some kind of political point, you might actually trigger one of these bot farms or NPC political activist groups, and they will come down on you. They will try to come in and control. It's like, oh my God, really? I can't believe you want
It'll be John Collins 942136.
exactly. And
you'll get 50 of them. I did that. I 2 weeks ago before I left, I had made some comments about the whole Trump assassination thing, and I just got flooded with thousands of messages, and they all had some simple name and then a random set of numbers after them.
And I cannot emphasize how important it is. Maybe not so much as us as individuals, but politicians or policymakers, you have to realize that's all fake. It's all fake. Now on Twitter, benefit. Do you remember? I think it was like a month or two ago. I had one that went viral. Is the picture of the guy and his woman cooking, and she was hot and thin, and he's smiling. Then she gets fatter in each progressive thing, and then his sag gets sadder and sad, face gets sadder, and then the last panel he's gone. That hit a bot activist farm like you wouldn't believe. 15 million impressions. Guess what? Monetized my channel on Twitter, made $430 for it. You can make money off of that, but I just want to point out, like, oh yeah, death threats, and you're the most horrible. You think like, no, this is pretty innocuous. This is pretty. They are out there, and so just so you know, there are resources and people and bots out there on the internet to make it look like it's something, and it's the absolute opposite.
Yeah.
No guy likes fat chicks. It's amazing to me how far some people go to create bots and farms and even have paid activists to make you think otherwise. So just so you know, this is where it's important to know that, no, you're not losing it. There should almost be like what is it? The Turing test to see if something's a robot or not. There should be kind of like the fat test. If anyone says big is beautiful, you could fucking ignore it because it's propaganda.
It's just not true. It's not true.
Then they're going to start sending the robot dogs out, right, John? Make sure that you like the fat people.
Fucking pandas.
I was at Purdue University. Went to the Purdue campus again on my trip, and they've got these freaking. This is another one of those things that just push button laziness shit that bothers me. They have these little like 6-wheeled mini robots. It looks like a vacuum or a shop vac, and you can order food from like the mess hall, whatever, and it will robot dog that food through campus to deliver it to you.
Yeah.
I'm just
What
like,
a time to be alive, man. What a time to be alive.
Yeah,
It
and
actually is a great
I point out, I was with my sons and I was like, guys, this isn't like a cool thing. Like, oh yeah, we're gonna have this and everything's gonna be delivered someday. I was like, this is normalization. They are trying to normalize this because someday these things are going to be asking you for your ID. They're going to be asking you for a blood test. Are you supposed to be in this district?
Not at all.
Wired with bombs
They have the Neuralink. They already
blow
know.
you up. But like, this is how they do it. They just usher it in. All cutesy. They make it like a cute little robot. And it's so nice. And then they strap some C4 in it.
Sure.
5 years from now,
what
more
realistically, I'm serious about this. Were the girls good looking on campus, or was it kind of eh?
It was it was like 2 weeks before school started.
All right, so it wasn't in season.
Campus is still kind of
so still Walmart scale.
Dead. Yeah, it's kind of dead. Like some people were graduating from their summer courses around. So there's a lot of people in their gowns and hats taking pictures and stuff. But I didn't really get a look around.
Okay.
Plus, I only have eyes for my girl now.
Yeah, bullshit.
Hey, John, this dead
No, I didn't notice any big fat people around that much. No.
John, you know about this dead internet theory, and the thing that makes me really concerned is the web services. Where is Nuke, man? He was here, and then of course, Paul understands web services. Amazon, Google controlling these massive server farms that actually are routing this information. And I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I mean, I've been lurking since 2000 on a lot of these forums just for fun and entertainment because I had access to it. And I watched a lot of stuff on the Red Pill Reddits, the stuff that's going on with Chateau Artis. A lot of that stuff, it's disappeared. It's gone. It's not even there. It's one of the reasons that Ryan Stone started capturing these things and getting them into his books. Have you run into that, Paul? Anytime there is stuff that's just not there anymore, and you can go to the Wayback Machine or some of the archives, it might be there. It's not. There's definitely they've sequestered search engine optimization. When I say sequestered it, you only have a few real suppliers that can offer you the searches. YouTube, Google, and then of course Google hides their web services. Hell, they own through a roundabout fashion Yahoo. And I believe they were making moves on DuckDuckGo. So you've got a few entities that are actually.
I think didn't the Supreme Court just rule or something about Google being a monopoly?
I hope they do. I think that's probably one.
I think that just happened recently, like a week or two ago.
Yeah, sites like Chateau Artis were like running on old WordPress servers. So if you're paying for hosting and Royce decided he didn't want to pay for that anymore, that shit's going to go away.
Yeah, the archives are there, but if you don't pay for it, it's gone.
And what's interesting? Yeah, going back to what you were saying about Google and like Amazon. Google, Amazon, Microsoft, those have the three biggest clouds out there. You have Azure, AWS, and GCP. And like 99% of websites are all like everyone's moved their server farms into those cloud environments. And what you saw with Parler, do you guys remember Parler a couple of years ago? It was supposed to be a conservative alternative to Twitter. Well, they decided all the big tech companies got together and decided we're not going to allow this platform anymore. And AWS shut them down and shut down all their servers. And they didn't have any backups because they were running everything in AWS. And so they had to, that killed Parler. That killed Parler overnight. And so you got to be careful with stuff like that. A lot of these big corporations have huge pull. And the only way around it is
build your own stuff.
Build your own shit.
You gotta build your own shit.
Yeah. And, even then, now you have internet access providers and stuff like that. You gotta, it's a whole thing,
Build your own satellites.
Super microcomputers and Linux is the way to go. That's my professional opinion because super micro is super cheap hardware, but it runs really well and you can build anything on it with Linux.
So including that internet partially true. I mean, Paul, it's partially true.
It's true. And there's a lot of old blogs, even like, so I have an old tech blog out there. It's still out there. It still gets like 100,000 views a month or something. I ran it on Blogger though, right? Which is a Google company now. I ran it on Blogger and it's just out there, but it's dead because I don't write on it anymore. There's a lot of that kind of stuff, old blogs that no one writes on anymore. There's that kind of shit too. But it also doesn't show up in your search engine results that much because you have to stay active on those things for Google to want to keep, categorizing it. And so there's a lot of that kind of stuff where it's still out there, but you won't find it because the search engines aren't categorizing it anymore, or they've purged it from their search engine results. There's all sorts of stuff like that. But yeah, and then what Cappy was talking about is like everything's bots now, especially on social media. It's 99% bots. It's not even real people. So for us, where we're using social media to market, you might get a big following, but it doesn't translate to business, because a lot of your followers are fucking bots now. It's fucking crazy.
And to show you how far it's gone, remember how Bumble said, okay, our entire premise was girls are going to do the first move. Teehee, we're so fucking lazy and cowardly. We need help. So they came up, they fucking used the most asinine euphemism that ever was, an AI concierge. And the AI will reach out to men's platforms with a scripted or pre-scripted initial hello. And then they also said, but we can offer the AI for men to offer AI responses. And the CEO literally said, it's very possible we could have it where your AI assistants talk to each other to find out whether or not you're compatible. Fuck off. I mean, go to the girl at the bowling alley and ask her out. Swear to God, like it is so fake that you have your AI assistant talking to some other girl. AI
it goes back to nobody wants to do it themselves.
Right.
Everybody wants to push a button. Everything is virtual. I got to push the button.
You want to hear something that's really fucked up? So one thing that I've seen, I do men's coaching, right? And a lot of us do. One thing I've noticed on Instagram are these businesses where you can hand off your entire coaching business to AI so that you can go travel the world and AI handles your coaching for you. And I'm like, oh, let me see what this is about. Right. And their sales pitch is this, that you sign up for my coaching program. And like, let's say, I say, hey, you have unlimited access to me over Telegram, which you do with my coaching program. Well, fucking this AI will answer all your questions for you. If you send me a question, it'll respond to you. I can just go and be in Tahiti and stuff like that. And I'm like, this is fucking crazy. Like you're being coached by an AI bot now. Like what? Why are you even interacting with me? You're not getting my personality and my feedback and my experience and stuff. Now you're getting some AI bullshit. That's absolutely insanity to me. So you guys out there that are thinking about hiring coaches, you need to really vet your coaches now and make sure that you're actually talking to your coach.
A real person.
Yeah.
So think of the business opportunity. If you can create an AI that can recognize other AIs, and now I can charge you for it, so you have your own personal AI that protects you from other AIs.
Super chat.
Mine's called Odin.
It's like AI
here. It says, can't wait. Unrealized Thoughts says, can't wait until they shut off your electric car because you made them mad. LOL. Ironically, being more connected comes with some disadvantages.
True.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Thor's got to be careful with that.
Disadvantages for sure.
Thor's got to be careful with that. He's got one of those Tesla cars that fucking drives itself.
Yeah, but I mean, come on, you know me. 1 is none and 2 is 1, and I am a prepper, so there are many other options in which I can attack that situation and not be down.
Yeah. Thor's awesome, man. It's just like Knight Rider. He's like, Kit, come around back, right?
That's what I want. If I ever had to get an electric car, I want somebody to help me hack it so that I can disconnect it from like the internet.
I could just say, arm the claymores. 10-foot activation zone. We're good to go.
There you go.
Man.
Well, shall we go and do something fun with our lives?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Like the dragon ship. We got it.
Yeah. I think we covered a lot of good stuff here.
Some good stuff today.
Talk about how everything is fake, gay, and retarded on the internet. You don't get yourself pulled into it too much. Like live in real life. Like try to spend most of your time in real life. Don't allow yourself to get sucked into the social media trap. Don't allow yourself to get sucked into the internet. These things are tools. They're tools that you should use as you need to make your life better. They shouldn't own you. You shouldn't feel that, you have to go and check to see what's going on. Oh my God, what did my politician say today? What did the other politicians say today? What's the news story about today? What's the news cycle pushing out there right now?
What
Like,
stupid shit did feminists do today?
It felt so good to have no idea what was going on that level. But I knew what was going on with my immediate circle and my people that I cared the most about. I had way more time to spend with them and do stuff with them than I did worrying about camel toe and whatever, bullet ear.
Bullet ear.
Bullet ear. Good old bullet ear.
It's a new rap out. Bullet ear.
Camel toe and bullet ear go head to head to see who gets to slave the Western world. Yeah. That's my conspiracy. That's my other conspiracy besides the pandas, is that they're all on the same side. They let Trump win in 2016 to get the people back on the reservation, get them involved in politics. They push the woke stuff to keep people away from complaining about the banks and to get people divided. And then they rigged the election for Biden in 2000 to rile up the opposition, so they're more committed than ever to politics. And then now we've got this scenario going in, and it's either something funky is going to go down and Kamala is going to win, and they're going to try to stage some riots and stuff so they can crack down on those Republicans and make them pay, or Trump's going to get in and everybody's going to be exalting the new Fuhrer, and he's going to introduce robot dogs, and they're for our safety and whatever.
Yep, John's right.
Because right now it's never been better to be a big business or corporation. That's legally, right? The amount of protections that exist to protect the powers that be, the corporations, are huge. If you're a large business owner, you're loving this right now, but that means the workers, the labor, they're asked out. You're going to be borderline slaves.
You're a wage slave subject to the mind virus. Absolutely.
All right. So let's we can wrap it up. You think we can wrap it up, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can go out and play.
All right. So let's see what you guys are doing. Let's go with Happy first.
I am going to work on my estate planning. That's what I'm doing right now. It's a very fun, exciting side. But I am going to go for a hike. I am going to go outside and play. Going to go for a hike. Look for my Instagram and Twitter, giving you all a finger. And then otherwise, for stuff, my courses are fine. They're selling like fire cakes or hot cakes or whatever. My minimalism course, Achieving Minimalism Theory and Practice, that's open for enrollment for the next 72 hours, 3 days or so. But a new course, as I mentioned before, is The World's Greatest Accounting Career. So if you're interested in looking at accounting as a career, search for that. That you could just find on Teachable. Search Teachable, Aaron Clary. You'll find it there. You got to hit all products. And that's about it. Otherwise, in terms of what we're talking about, take a look at some of my books, because it's all about getting your real life together. Obviously, with the financial skew, Bachelor Pad Economics, Worthless, all those things are designed to get your real life finances in order. So take a look there. Aaron Clary on Amazon. You'll find those books.
All righty. Thor.
Hey, you guys, come see me on the Dragon Ship at 10:30. We're going to have a really nice discussion around finances and financial illiteracy with Laurent Bernal. That should be quite good. He is a trader out of Tokyo, so we got the international flavor going on. And then come see me on becomedurable.com. I reduced all the prices on my lectures. Just for example, I have one out there that's 3.5 hours, and it's called Testosterone, Why Every Man and Woman Should Care. And it's not sitting there giving you medical advice or anything like that. I'm just going through the data that's out there and why it's important to understand hormonal health. It's $30. You're going to get almost 4 hours of content. Go check it out on Become Durable. There's lots of free content there. I'll see you guys on the Dragon Ship. Skull.
Right. Paul.
Yeah. I recommend that you guys get out there and unplug from the TV, unplug from the internet every once in a while, and pick up a good book, right? Like this, like an actual paperback book or hardcover book. Because if the power goes out one day, you still have something to occupy your mind with. This is a good one, right? Everything I Wish I Knew When I Was 18. I know the author. It's available on Audible as well. RP Thor did the narration for it. I'm going to be on the Dragon ship after this too, and then otherwise on Monday, tune into the podcast because I'm going to be talking about the concept of the razor's edge. I don't know if you guys have heard of that concept before, but it's basically the idea that slight differences make all the difference when it comes to winning and losing. And I'm going to talk about how that applies to dating and relationships. So tune into that on Monday, 10 a.m. Eastern time on my YouTube channel.
All righty. And then I'm back. You know, I had a couple weeks off, wasn't posting anything, didn't do my podcast. But I'll be doing John Fitch Knows Nothing tomorrow night. I got some fights to watch tonight. We'll be talking about my trip a little bit and whatever else comes up. I don't know. I'm a little bit fired up, I guess, from the trip, and I should fuel some good rants. So we'll have some fun. Stop by. Other than that, go do my Gum Road course or Gum Road and check out my courses. Put that in the chat. And I have more coming because I usually, when I teach my seminars, when I'm on my road trip and stuff, I record my seminars. So I make those, I edit those, and I put them up later so people can access them. If you can't catch me live, you can catch an affordable video version on my Gumroad. All right. So do that. And learn something, get fit, learn how to fight, learn some jiu-jitsu stuff, some wrestling stuff. I got a lot of different programs up there. But thanks for tuning in, guys, and thank you guys for stopping by to talk about this. But get out of the long